Blast off.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 1 of the Tater podcast. I'm here with...
Maxwell Schultz, also known as AfroMan.
I thought I'd try out a podcast. So this is just episode 1. I guess we'll just dive right into it. So introduce yourself. So what do you hope to do on your YouTube channel?
I just hope to show my creativity. I wanted to make some gaming videos. I might expand into something else. I was thinking about creating some sort of skit or so, but I don't really know yet. You know?
Huh.
Yeah.
But what were your
what
were your first impressions when I asked if you wanted to do this podcast?
I was just like, I don't know. It would be fun. It might be interesting.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Because it's like I don't have any real questions besides like one main one, and then I feel like we should just dive off from there. So I guess I'll just go right into it, because whatever, we got time. Yeah. So what do you think of the James Gunn controversy?
Oh no. I don't follow a lot of news or anything. You gotta explain it to me. You gotta explain it.
So basically he made some insensitive, to say the least, comments on Twitter almost 10 years ago, and then so in 2012 he made a public apology for it at San Diego Comic-Con. But so basically he made some conservatives mad, and so they came out like just showing a bunch of these tweets, and he got fired from production of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, yes, I heard about this.
So it's just a big thing for, the whole joke police.
I saw all of it and I was like, oh my god. First of all, the jokes were terrible. They were really unfunny jokes. Yeah. It was like everybody was just trying to make edgy jokes on Twitter at that point in time. It was just like, who cares?
Well, it's because
I really don't care. I don't think he should have been fired. But I don't think there's much you can do about it when it's like Disney. It's like,
well, it's like
they want it family friendly 100%.
Well, it's just like Disney it's turned into such an icon that it's like they can't even address any of the criticism towards firing him at all, or else someone's going to call them out for it.
Yeah, well, and they're also a behemoth. It's hard to stop whatever they do.
Well, I mean, they basically own everyone besides Sony and Paramount now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what was the most recent thing they bought? The
20th
Simpsons?
Century Fox.
They bought that?
Yeah, they have Fox.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I know.
That's impressive.
Weren't
they trying to buy Fox News or something?
I mean, they were just trying to buy the X-Men for Marvel, but it branched off of that.
I mean, there's already they own Marvel, right? So
yeah. There's
the whole thing about Infinity War, how they teamed up with Sony to connect Spider-Man with.
I mean, for Infinity War, I was actually really impressed because I didn't think Disney would have the balls to drop half their characters, or at least seemingly do it.
Yeah, but I think Deadpool 2 beat them on what they're gonna on how they're gonna fix them with time travel stuff. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. You know what really sucks? Since they bought 20th Century Fox after this next X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix, I think it's in theaters February, they're going to have to reset the X-Men just because of all the timeline crap. They're going to have to reset the X-Men and put new versions of them in the MCU, which means Deadpool 2 is probably the last we're going to see of Deadpool.
Oh, so there's another X-Men movie? I didn't know that.
So Dark Phoenix is going to come out this next February. The trailer came out last week.
I guess I missed that somehow.
Yeah, so that's going to be the end of the Fox X-Men universe, but then they're probably going to have to reset it to integrate them into the MCU.
I see. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't follow too many of those movies, but, Infinity War, I was actually very impressed about. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was for a superhero movie, I was pretty in depth.
My problem with Marvel movies is that they're all the same movie. They have the same basic hero's journey and it always ends the same way, which is why I liked Infinity War so much, because it's a different ending. Infinity War was a cliffhanger, which I don't think Marvel's really ever had. Like, even in Civil War, like, it wrapped up, but it didn't, like.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Oh my god, hold on. I'm gonna have to turn off the heat. I'm sorry. It's so hot in here.
But anyway, on the note of, like, James Gunn, the thing is, Disney knew about the comments.
Between my, like, PC smoking from, like, gaming and, like, my heater on, I noticed a funny thing today. I was like, it was, like, gray out, and it's, like, all the heat's on in the house and all that, and I was like, this is how I know it's Christmas time. Like, you can feel it. Like, all these things together make my, like, personal Christmas.
Well, it's like, I don't get it.
It's
like October 1st. It's like Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's just all of a sudden.
Yeah, a lot of holidays. But I'm like, it's the winter again. And it's like, on Hawaii or something, right? People have a different, like,
and it's like
idea of Christmas. They know that Christmas as being, like, a sunny time of year.
Yeah.
But, like, we all have this, like, thing, this, like, natural instinct to know, wow, this is Christmas time.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, in Hawaii, like, it's even, like, there sometimes it is rainy around Christmas time.
Yeah, but Hawaiian rain is very short. It's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like
very
quick,
it's not even
it
rain. It's
a
just
couple times.
wind and little glitter.
Yeah, it's short water.
Yeah.
Oh, Hawaii's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd love to. That would be my dream location to live.
I mean, like, I like Hawaii, and I love going there, but I'd never want to live there because the beaches look all sparkly and clean, but then once you go, like, a mile into the city, it just looks complete trash. Like, wherever you go, it's... I mean, they could just call it the tourist state, and that'd be true.
Yeah, although there's some cool things about that. It's like that you can't there's like laws, you can't put up like big advertisement signs on the highways and stuff.
Well, like, there are states that buy their homeless population one-way tickets to Hawaii just because it's so remote.
Well, the Hawaii is filled with homeless people. Although they're like they're very Hawaiian homeless people.
Yeah.
They're in the tropical land, like just living. They don't even have their signs. They're just like sitting on the beach enjoying themselves.
Well, I mean, if you had to be homeless in one place, where would it be?
Oh man, I actually don't know. It'd probably be the best place to be homeless, like whatever place has like good homeless care.
Yeah, I'd be homeless inside of someone's house.
Quite possibly, although you're not quite homeless then, but sure, I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right, well, back to James Gunn. Like, honestly, I want him to get rehired, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a super fan of the second movie either. I thought... I mean, I don't know. What did you think of it, of Volume 2?
I thought it was good, but I thought it had a lot of wasted potential.
It was weird. Like, when, I don't want to spoil anything, but, like, when the main antagonist
Peter becomes a
is
god.
like... Yeah, when Peter Griffin explains his whole evil plan, it's like... In 5th grade, I was told, you show, don't tell in a story. You don't spend 10 minutes explaining your evil plan. Yeah. Or like talking about like history or something.
It's also
it's bad writing.
For all his maniacal plans, the villain is such a dumbass. Like, it killed me to put that tumor in her head.
Yeah, it's weird writing. It's weird writing.
Yeah.
It's like there's only so much. And I respect a good sequel if it's planned. If someone is making a piece of art and they plan a sequel, it can definitely be very good. But I think when a sequel is based on money, it loses something. Like I loved Stranger Things, but the sequel felt very like. It felt like a very like I don't know, forced kind of thing. More like what's the word? not sitcom-y, like soap opera-y. Like all the characters didn't
Yeah, I know. Like
fit like
the
how
thing
they used to be.
I liked about Stranger Things was that it was this wacky adventure with kids that had dark undertones, but Stranger Things 2 was just everyone moping around.
Well, the thing about it is that the Duffer Brothers had like they didn't know it was going to be successful. They were allowed to do what they wanted. They created a good story. They created good characters, and it all worked out very well for them. But the problem is, once it was successful, when they made the second season and inevitably the third one, which they're gonna do, they had to like go along with the expectations, what people wanted, what characters people liked, you know, what they wanted to see.
I mean,
they had to make it. And they also had to make it like more epic than the last one, right? They had to make it more intense. So I think that's what made it lose something.
I mean, right now they're on a 4 to 6 season arc, depending on what happens. And, you know, I have my hopes high for this third season this next summer. It's actually going to come out next July.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I heard something about how I don't remember his name. One of the teenage characters, he got like kicked out of the U.S. Actually, what's his name?
So Charlie Heaton, I think his name is.
Yeah, because he's a British guy doing an American accent.
Well, no, apparently he sold weed to some people.
Wow, that's pretty edgy. That's pretty epic.
Apparently, so he just got like deported. But he was able to do shooting in Atlanta, so I don't know what the deal with that was.
Oh, okay, so it's they're still filming it.
Yeah. Well,
like,
they're not.
I was like, are they gonna figure out like how to write him out of the script or something?
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
Yeah, Jonathan got hit by a car in between seasons, and we're not gonna talk about it.
Did he actually?
No.
That's crazy.
No, he didn't get hit by a car. Just some stupid writing out.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah.
A movie I'm really not looking forward to is Star Wars Episode 9.
They're making more Star Wars?
So there's going to be one last movie.
I was definitely not a fan of... Solo was, like, kind of weird.
So here's the thing. I liked Disney Star Wars up until Episode 8, which is when I feel like it got ultra Disney-ified.
Yeah.
Like, it especially shines with the kid at the end, who, like, you know, force pulls the broom to himself. It's like... anyone can be a Jedi, even a little slave child.
Yeah, it's very Star Warsy and it's very branded, which means like in something like the Solo movie where they could have went a different angle, they could have like made it seem like interesting and gritty. They just made it Star Warsy, and that's what I feel like a film like that lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also like, you know, there are plot things that just go nowhere. Like, you know, when they go to the casino planet, which, by the way, I hated that. It felt like it was a scene that was deleted from The Phantom Menace. And then they trust this guy that they literally just met, and he breaks him out of prison. So they're like, oh, okay, we should trust this guy. He talks like an absolute lunatic, and they're like, yeah, we can still trust this guy. They get betrayed, and immediately their entire adventure was just for nothing other than some stupid monologue about how the rich take advantage of the poor.
Yeah, it was pretty lame.
Yeah.
It was pretty like watered down.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Yeah. So
I've never been very into Star Wars. I remember when I was very little, I saw it at my mom's work.
Yeah.
Like when I was like, I don't know, must have been like 8 years old. I watched it on the TVs, but I was like, I didn't watch it until I was very old. I don't know. I must have watched it when I was like 12 or something, 13.
I mean, like,
it doesn't run deep in my system, Star Wars.
I mean, there was like a 6-month period where I just absolutely loved Star Wars. Like, I was a fanatic. I spent like $150 on this like lightsaber model that's still resting on my mantle.
I see.
Yeah. But, I don't know, like, Disney's kind of taking it in a direction that I don't like, and I have a feeling Episode 9 is just going to be so shit that I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah, I can see that. Actually, what do you think of big companies like Disney, like becoming like that big?
Well, it's like Disney is huge. They're like the
John D. Rockefeller of the movie industry at this point. Like, they've just taken over so much.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, speaking of the movie industry, I heard this thing that do you know about like American movies in China, how that works?
Yeah.
How they have to, like, China only lets in so many American movies, but they become super big in China,
and they also
that can make, like, the American, like, movie makers a lot of money.
Well, a big part of, like, these Star Wars movies is that they want to find a way to get Chinese interests. Like, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi didn't do too hot on that, but Rogue One got a shit ton of sales in China because of Donnie Yen's character.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like that in China they're making this, like, billion-dollar studio that they're like, it's like they're trying to, like, convince people to make movies in, because it's like there's so much money in the Chinese movie industry.
Yeah.
Like, a middle class is formed, and, like, people to watch movies, and the Chinese love American movies.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know, a reason that Star Wars, like, Disney is putting Star Wars on hold after Episode 9, which was not the original plan, but they're doing that because Solo only made, like, $1 million in China.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, which is why, like, after Episode 9, they're putting Star Wars on hold, which they weren't going to do. They were going to release, like, a Yoda movie or something.
Really? Huh. Yeah. I mean, that seems like the direction they're going, Yoda movie.
Well, like, what they're doing is they want to do a ton of standalone films, like Solo and Rogue One. Like, they want to do a bunch of that. Like, they want to end the saga, and they want to kill off, like, all the old characters as quick as possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. When it's that big, I can see the company being like, we gotta figure out how to, like, continue this, stretch this out more. But it's like there's only so much you can get out of that. It's not like,
well, I mean, it's
Spielberg thought it would be that big when he made the first one.
It's also, so they bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion, and they've more than made that back from Star Wars. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've managed their assets well, but I think after Episode 9, it's kind of the end of their run with Lucasfilm. I mean,
yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do with that after that.
Well, right now they're putting $100 million into a TV show called The Mandalorian for Star Wars, and they're also bringing the Clone Wars back.
Oh, huh. What were those like?
So, The Mandalorian is going to be a live-action TV show, which I have not dove into. They're bringing back the Clone Wars, which was a universally loved cartoon by fans, which Lucas brought about, but then Disney canceled it, but they're bringing it back now, just because they want the fan support. They're also releasing this new animated series that looks like it's going to be so bad. It's called Star Wars Resistance, and it's like, you know, like those Transformers TV shows that are like really kiddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but Star Wars.
I've never seen the Transformers films. The big, like, shiny ones that were like
I have a different perspective on Transformers because, you know, my dad watched it as a kid, and I have the entire original 1984 series, so I watched that. And the original movie from 1986, and so that was the Transformers I knew. And then when I watched the Michael Bay films, I'm like, oh, these are shit.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, they look insanely, like, terrible. And
yeah, don't get me wrong, the action sequences are good, but everything else about them is just kind of
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, they're doing a Bumblebee standalone movie with the villain as John Cena.
I think that's a bad sign when, like, from these two, like, films, it's a bad sign when they're starting to do the standalone films, when they're like, we gotta stretch this out to show more, like, things.
I might, like, watch this Transformers standalone film for Bumblebee because it's directed by the guy who directed Coraline, Paranorman, and Kubo and the Two Strings, which are all fantastic movies. So it gives me hope, but it could still
I mean, a good director's that's worth something.
I mean, Michael Bay seems to just want money and explosions.
Actually, what does he do now, Michael Bay? What movies has he done?
Basically movies that ruin people's childhoods. He's done Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some probably shitty original movies.
Oh. I haven't watched a lot of movies recently, but I did watch I don't know why I got reminded of this. What's his name? The hacker guy that went to Russia. He released the fact that like people's phones were being like recorded.
Oh,
in
Snowden.
The US. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the movie too.
That. It was interesting. I don't know if I like. I think it was a little over dramatic or dramatized. Is that the word?
Yeah.
But like, I found it interesting. I think my real problem with the film is actually the real life thing that happened. I respect him for like leaking that data, but I don't think what he like showed the world was that amazing. I was like, I don't think it's that crazy that like the US spies on us.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's basically, though, I mean, it's not that crazy, but it did expose the government for lying, and that was a big thing. Because, like, you know, the government lying to us is only a relatively new concept in U.S. history. Like, only skeptics of the government only surfaced after Vietnam, after the U.S. was glorifying it when it was an extremely bloody war. And so, you know, this just further strengthened the public's distrust in the government because of, you know, they're spying on us through media.
I see what you mean. But yeah, I just I don't know. I haven't watched movies as much recently. You know.
Yeah.
Like I've always been into very philosophical films, very scientific films, but like I don't know. I don't think the movie market has been as like interesting lately. You know.
I mean, I watched Venom yesterday, and I have to tell you, it was both amazing and absolutely terrible.
I see. What? So, like, what? Explain what you mean by that.
Well, like, there are a few moments in the movie where, like, the symbiote, like, Venom, his motives just switch from one thing to another, and I'm not going to throw out any spoilers, but, like, the characters are just kind of Like, there is character development, don't get me wrong, but it's like, some of their mannerisms are just downright weird. And it's, the entire plot of the movie, like, is just on a few loose things, like a few loose strings. However, the movie is amazingly comedic. I thought the action sequences were really good. The thing I don't like is that in the comics, Venom is traditionally a villain, right? But in this movie, the entire time, he's just painted as an anti-hero. Like, he's never the villain at all.
I see.
Which
I've actually... Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue. I've actually noticed that I like where Marvel and stuff is going with their movies, where they noticed how it's better to make a comedic, like, a more comedic film than a less comedic one.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man or something. I like what they did with that Homecoming.
Yeah.
It was a lot more funny, which I think made a better film.
I mean, it's like what I really didn't like about Batman versus Superman versus Justice League is that in Batman versus Superman, no one smiles at all. Like, it's super dark. There's no comedy. But then in Justice League, all these characters are just comical relief.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go too much, but like,
Yeah.
I actually going back a couple years, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Everybody hated that film. I actually really enjoyed it. I liked the style. I liked it. I found it interesting, and I think a lot of people wanted like this super edgy film, but it's like in my opinion, I think that's like, it's like these are almost like goofy superheroes. It's like, I don't want to say goofy. I mean, some people would argue the opposite, but it's like,
Yeah.
It's like the Joker and everything. I liked how they made that film. They made it a little more like, not silly, more like comedic.
Well, like,
and
yeah.
And I think that's why everybody hated it. But it was actually super successful. It sold its box office.
I really like those, the comedic action movies. Because even Infinity War, which is a really, I mean, you could say that there are undertones of really dark things, but they managed to make it so that it's comedic.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, perfect. It's good writing if you can make a good joke. Like, entertainment should either be like, entertainment should either be like entertaining, or like entertaining, like philosophical, or like funny. I think it should be one of those three things. Like, entertaining could be like a big like action scene, or it could be scary or something. But I think, I think if you can make a good funny like film or show or something, you got it down. Like that's what's very important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen like as many movies that I've been like into recently. Like, what are the most recent films that you've liked? You know,
most recent films that I've liked.
Yeah, like most recent big releases that you've been like super into. I mean, like Infinity War was pretty interesting. That was cool.
I liked Infinity War. Because the thing about Infinity War as well is it's not just a black and white story. It has you questioning who's the real hero and the villain. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that I like about Thanos that no other Marvel villain has is that he is a real person. And that sounds stupid, but he has clear motives that aren't just world domination or destruction, and he has a reason for that.
Yeah. He has like a backstory, like a real backstory.
And he doesn't kill anyone that he doesn't need to kill to accomplish his end goal.
And it's also not like his backstory like drones on. It's like his backstory is explained in like one scene and then it's done. It's all about what happens, you know?
Yeah.
My only thing with Infinity War was the like Earth like story that was going on was a little more boring, but like the rest was like completely interesting. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it
was good.
I mean, so apparently Avengers 4 is going to be like 3.5 hours, and that's the movie that I'm probably most looking forward to right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, movies have gotten so long.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Avengers 4 is going to be a deep movie, though. Like, this is going to be the end of, like, a lot of characters.
What do you think they're going to do in that? What are you expecting? Do you have any idea? Do you have any theory?
Well, it's hard, because the Russo brothers, the directors, say that Avengers 4 is going to be something that we're not expecting. What do I think? Well, based off of the information we have, there's going to be Captain Marvel in there, and she's supposedly the most powerful character they've ever introduced. You know, they have said that there's going to be, Thanos there's a permanent toll taken on him in the Infinity Gauntlet by the Snap, and from leaked set photos we can tell that this is a time travel movie, and they're going to go back to the past battles. So what I think is going to happen is probably they're going to prevent the Snap from ever happening. Because have you seen Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, I actually haven't. Is that out yet?
Yeah.
Like on DVD, not out in theaters, like on DVD.
So I haven't. Yeah, it's out on DVD. So like I haven't seen it either, but I did get it spoiled on the end credit scene. And so basically, there's a bunch of stuff with the quantum realm in the movie, and how it connects to time and space. And so basically, they're gonna in Avengers 4, they're gonna use the quantum realm and technology related to that to travel through time. So I have a feeling they're going to prevent the Snap from ever happening by doing like time traveling.
When is that coming out actually?
Avengers 4?
Yeah. Like roughly when? 2019, I imagine.
April 27th, 2019.
Oh, that is far, but it's less far that it will feel then.
Yeah. Well, like it's exactly a year after Infinity War.
I see. They give themselves a year.
Yeah.
I wonder how many characters they're gonna bring back and how many are gonna be left dead. Because I mean, if it's time travel, the whole thing is that they're gonna bring people back. But do you think they'll like re-die or something?
I mean, like, so the title has not been revealed, but the two most popular theories among fans are Avengers 4 Endgame or Avengers 4 Annihilation.
Oh, huh. That's interesting.
The description of the title is that, what is it? It's a spoiler for Infinity War, and it's supposed to scare us.
Yeah.
So, both of those titles could fit.
I
think Annihilation would be a better title.
Yeah, it does have a little more oomph to it.
Endgame has been, like, a phrase that's been used in the MCU before, like in Age of Ultron, you know, Tony Stark is rambling on about the Battle of New York, and he says, put that up there, that's the end game. And then in Infinity War, Doctor Strange says, we're in the end game now. So I think that would be a more thematic title, but I think the overall better title would be Annihilation.
Yeah, I see that. But I mean, whatever the title is, people are going to get it. People are going to buy it, go to it. People are so into Avengers, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing I'm grateful for most with Avengers is that they don't have, like, a Rick and Morty fan base.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so popular that I don't think it could have a Rick and Morty fan base. Like, it's like, it's like the entire country.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, yeah. What do you think of PewDiePie versus T-Series? This is totally off topic. But...
PewDiePie versus all of India.
Yeah.
I heard a thing that if you get a YouTube account in India, it automatically subscribes you to T-Series. Is that correct or not?
Yeah, and the Middle East.
Oh, just in the Middle East in general?
Well, the Middle East and India. Like, if you get an account in, like, hold on, Israel, Palestine, like, Jordan, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, like, and India, you will, like, be subscribed to T-Series.
It's been confirmed?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do they do that?
So T-Series, I actually looked up the backstory to this. So T-Series was a company that was founded in 1983 for pirated Bollywood music, which is how a lot of Indian Americans connect to their their Indian relatives, because Bollywood is a big cultural part of, you know, Indian culture nowadays.
Yeah.
So T-Series expanded to YouTube, right? And the Indian government adopted T-Series, like, as, you know, a sort of thing, which is why you're automatically subscribed to it, because it's like, it's like how in China they have PRC-only sites. It's like India's version of that, but on YouTube, it's one of, like, the main channels you're subscribed to is T-Series.
That is very strange.
I know.
So it's like most of those subscribers aren't even, like, caring about that.
Well, it's like,
wow.
PewDiePie really stands no chance, because India's smartphone users is, like, basically the same size as the entire U.S. population, which is 325 million for both.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't really watch PewDiePie, but I know that he doesn't care about being the most subscribed channel. He just enjoys what he does, really, which is cool, and I respect that a little bit. Like, if you've ever seen him talk about it, he's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna lose being the top subscribed channel on YouTube." Like, he doesn't even care anymore.
What I'm sad about is that PewDiePie is a real human being. I don't want the #1 most subscribed on YouTube to be a corporate executive.
I mean, that is fair. That would be a shame. But, I mean, I don't know. My opinions on YouTube have been pretty down in the last, like, year or two. I
think YouTube's cultural peak was 2015.
Yeah, something like that. And
then in 2016 came Leafy, came Keemstar, came Grade A Under A,
and they fucked it all up. And then came this, like, not the suicide force, then came, like, PewDiePie's whole, like, controversy, which made advertisers pull out of YouTube. And YouTube, at that point, was like, we have seriously screwed up over the past year. Let's all become SJWs.
Yeah. And I mean, like, even, like, Leafy and Keemstar, like...
Yeah.
I mean, like... They weren't as bad. I mean, they were obnoxious people, but it was like they were their just own genre of stuff. In fact, I almost have nostalgia for them because, like, not because I like who they are, but, like, because it, like, brings back a better time of YouTube. Like, even when they were on YouTube, YouTube was a little better.
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing with Leafy is at first, like, in the May of 2016, I really liked him. But his content just got worse and worse and worse and worse until it was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he saw that there was a machine that you could, like, really just pump out content of, like, if you repeated what you're doing.
Which I think 2016 was probably the most influential year in YouTube. It's the year that Content Cop took off. It's the year that Drama Alert took off. It's the year Leafy took off. It's the year the algorithm changed that allowed for, you know, content like Spider-Man and Elsa to rise up because it was
Spider-Man and Elsa.
Friendly. Yeah, it was a weird year, but it affected YouTube, probably for the worse.
I mean, it was also like it kind of caused like some of the best content on YouTube to be created in that very short time, though, because there are like people like making videos being like, look at how insane this is, and like making it into a comedic thing. I actually remember I discovered iDubbbz and H3 at about the same time in like 2015.
Yeah.
Me and my friend, and we were like, man, these people are weird, but we kind of like them. And then I remember the first Content Cop coming out, and I was like, huh, this is interesting. And it was weird looking back because you don't even realize that like the person you were just like a fan of became big, you know? He just kind of becomes big, and you're like, oh, huh.
Well, it's like the status quo never feels good when it is. I mean, it's like those were the good old days, and now where we are sucks. Filthy Frank is retired into the personality of Joji. Max Mofo hasn't, you know, uploaded in over a year, and iDubbbz is just sitting making videos on complaining about, I don't know, like ice cream sizes was his last video.
I mean, I think people also assume a lot about the content creators. I watched a podcast on Jacksepticeye, who I really didn't really like. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, he's cool. He's like a cool guy. And I watched a thing on Ninja, and I was like, oh, Ninja's great. He's like a nice guy.
Yeah. It's like the thing I don't like is that YouTube at its core is no longer edgy. And that sounds so stupid. But it's true, like they won't support edgy creators.
Yeah, I can see that. Like it's more limiting, right? You can't do the same stuff.
And at this point, like, they censored Alex Jones when Alex Jones didn't commit any hate crimes. He just spoke his opinion. Sure, he's extreme right, and I don't agree with what he says, but he's allowed to say that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, freedom of speech is a weird thing. I believe in it, but it's abstract on how you like figure that out. And I feel like a lot of people agree that YouTube isn't using that properly, but it's like it's strange how you decide like what is okay and what is not. You know?
It's like YouTube at this point is favoring creators that can give them a better mainstream image rather than creators that can make this a fun platform.
Yeah. And it's like it's really just that like everybody longs for like endless entertainment, and it's like YouTube has to give that to them, and YouTube's just like, oh, we just got to make the money, you know. We gotta keep up. We gotta keep up on that YouTube grind.
Yeah, which I mean, you know, it is kind of sad that we've gotten to this point, and I know that in a year I'll probably be looking back on this and I'll be like, it's sad that we've gotten to this point. Things were so much better in October 2018.
It's the remember the 90s thing.
Yeah.
Remember the 90s. Things were so good in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's turned into such a stupid platform where, like, you know, don't get me wrong, all this KSI versus Logan crap, I liked it, but I also hated it because it gave Logan new life. Like, I feel like without it, the Pauls would have just gradually faded into, you know, nothingness during this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, my biggest thing was, it was actually very entertaining. A lot of people said it was boring, but it was like, it brought the family together. I saw my friends in Switzerland, they were watching it. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
It was like,
Well, it's like, you know,
everybody's looking at this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, with the fight, it's like, you know, I watched KSI for a while, I watched Logan Paul for a while, and unlike, you know, KSI versus Weller, which I had, you know, briefly heard about, it was like, these are two people that I've watched and I've known and I've appreciated these people, and they're going head to head, and it was really entertaining.
I never watched KSI. What did he used to do before all this?
So he went on to YouTube and he did a bunch of FIFA Let's Plays, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so he did FIFA until like 2015, and then he sort of just transitioned into comedy, and then he also did rap and whatever, and so he was just this comedian. I actually think he's very funny, and then he took a long break, where he actually just took like a 9-month break to just find himself as a person, and then he came back because he moved into like the Clout House with Rice Gum for like 2 weeks in August of 2017. And then, you know, Joe Weller called him out, and so he started boxing training. They fought in February. He called out Logan, and the rest is history.
I see. But
so he's been doing YouTube for like 12 years.
That's crazy. I mean, it's also crazy the YouTubers that were like so big and then died. Like all the Minecraft YouTubers, like, oh my god, there must have been like so many millions of dollars in like also, Minecraft YouTube.
Yeah, you know that KSI is actually like 4 years older than Logan.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, he's
How
27.
old are they? Oh, Logan's 23. Okay.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Which is like, I don't, you know, at the beginning when Jake Paul was being like, these kids are going out there and making actions, I was just so angry because I'm like, you're 21 and he's like 27. He's 6 years older than you.
Yeah.
And he's calling him a kid.
The whole thing was really weird. I mean, it like. I don't know what I made of it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And I really didn't care that they did like pay-per-view and stuff. It was like they're making money. That they're like doing a job, right?
Well,
it was very strange seeing
it. Costs so much for them as well. Like this is like they rented out one of the biggest arenas in Europe, and like actually if you look at it, they only made like a little bit in profit.
Yeah, I mean like people are like oh my god, they took so much money. It's like
each of the fighters only made $20,000 profit.
What was the biggest boxing? What was that really massive boxing match?
Like McGregor versus Mayweather.
Yes, they each like one of them made like I think McGregor made like 300 million or something.
Yeah, but the thing about KSI versus Logan Paul, both of them each only made like $20,000 to $40,000 profit.
Really? I didn't even know that. I thought they made more than that.
Which is why, like, you want to call it fake, you want to call it all these things, but you can't because, like, you know, they only made a little bit of profit. Sure, they made a lot of money total, but it was basically just paying expenses.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought I definitely assumed they each made like 100,000 or something.
Yeah, no.
At least. Like the whole thing was like roughly $10 million profit for the like whole like
well, so they made
event.
$8 million from the pay-per-view, and then like
Huh. Okay.
And
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Ticket sales for the actual arena, I think, made like $200,000.
Okay. I mean, and then how much do you think the arena cost itself? That probably was a pretty penny.
It's like the third biggest arena in Europe.
It was in the UK, right?
Yeah. Manchester Arena, and it held like 40,000 people.
Here, I'm actually gonna look that up. Manchester Arena. I'm interested.
Yeah. I didn't look up the Manchester Arena, but I'm told it's pretty big.
Capacity 21,000. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I wasn't as negative towards the event as a lot of people were. I feel like.
Yeah.
Know.
But yeah, I don't know. The rematch is in May, so.
Oh, they actually scheduled it. Has anything else came out of that?
It was gonna be in like February, but since Case I had like 2 fights back to back, he'd basically been doing intense training all year, so he's just taking like a month off so that he can, eat junky and just do all this stuff before he trains again.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's funny. But
like TMZ caught him at a bar like eating like 7 platters of tater tots.
Oh, as the Tater Cater, you must feel very happy.
Yeah, I know. That was so funny. I saw that. I'm like,
oh my god.
Actually, a little teaser for anyone that's listened this long. I'm gonna be doing a Caffeine Man animated where Caffeine Man gets all the Infinity Stones.
Ooh, epic. I would watch that.
Yeah, I've already completed like the Power Stone sequence.
But oh my god, you're making me very hungry.
I'm gonna get some Jimmy John's later.
They like upgraded like all the food at the Washington State Ferry, and now they have these like super good loaded tater tots with like cheese and bacon.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, and the Orca cards. Listen to this. The Orca cards, they get you onto the ferries and the trains.
Really? I mean, I have an Orca card.
Yeah, apparently. They have like a little train on the back and like a boat. But
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some Jimmy John's later. I'm told that's where you went to high school.
Jimmy John's class of 2032. That's me.
Yeah.
What was I? Oh, I just said on. Eli noticed that I took I say on like a Pennsylvanianer, like a southeastern Pennsylvania person, like my dad. I don't say on. I say on. I don't know. I never noticed.
This is on another note, but I saw this one cheesesteak store in Philly, and they were extremely like rude to people that didn't use the Philly vocabulary. They're like, you can tell that they're not from Philly if they ask for a Philly cheesesteak with onions and not with onions.
I mean, come on, you're not ordering it correctly. I can't understand what you're saying.
Well, on the menu, it was WIT.